Hello, good afternoon. My name is Eddie Reese, and today I will be teaching about indeterminate forms. Indeterminate forms were introduced by a Cauchy student named Moigno, who introduced them in the late 19th century and arose in the study of limits. It could be used in engineering to determine the stress of a material breaking point and to predict economic growth rates when key variables reach extreme values, or in physics, when calculating instantaneous velocities of an object at a certain point of time. Now, what is the definition of indeterminate forms? Well, a mathematical expression that arises when trying to evaluate a limit, evaluate a limit where the expression itself cannot be determined solely by substituting substituting the limit value. That is the definition of indeterminate forms. Now, how do these look like? It could look like 0 over 0, infinity over infinity, 0 times infinity, infinity minus infinity. It could also look like 0 multiplied by 0, 1 multiplied by infinity, and infinity times 0. These how they should look like. If you get one of these, you will get an indeterminate form. Now, let's look at some examples of indeterminate form. Example 1. So you have the limit of x3. The equation would be x squared minus 9 over x minus 3. You plug in 3 to the x's. So it'd be 3 squared minus 9 and 3 minus 9. Now you solve this, which would be 9 minus 9 and 3 minus 3. You solve this final one, which would be 0 over 0, and you would get an indeterminate form, which is right here, the very first one we found. That's an indeterminate form. That's how you would find an indeterminate form. Let's look at another example. Example 2. Limit from x to infinity. Our equation would look like 3 times 3x plus 10 over 2x squared minus 6. You would plug into infinity into the x's, so this would look like this plus 10 and 2 infinity, that's an infinity in there, squared minus 6. You'd solve this. 3 times infinity would equal infinity plus 10. Wouldn't change much, so it would stay to infinity over infinity squared would still stay infinity since it's just like a placeholder for a high, very large number, times 2 would stay infinity, right? So it'd be infinity minus 6. 6 is a very low number compared to infinity, so it would not do anything. So you would stay infinity times over infinity, which is the second one we found right here. This is an indeterminate, forgot to eat in there, form. Now, this is all there is into indeterminate form. There's nothing much else in there. We have done this a couple times before in previous lessons when we were trying to find limits, but we didn't go much farther into it. I chose this topic because it sounded very interesting when like, when I first read it, but when I did my research, I realized it was quite simple, and there's nothing much else into it except for finding the indeterminate form. Uh, but yeah, I really liked it. It was very simple. You only use it when trying to find the limit. And yeah, thank you for watching.